plan is and the hope is that from the beginning we hope that it's student-centered. So we never necessarily tell the kid what to do. We always kind of let them pick the topics they want to explore. And then we help them try to find different ways to explore the things they're interested in. A lot of times trying to find other people who have expertise in those areas. The entire time they're the ones asking the essential questions about the topics they're exploring, and the entire time they're the ones who are trying to come up with how they're going to demonstrate what they learned to someone else. And so, like, while we're there to help guide that problem-solving process, we never, sometimes frustratingly, we never actually solve the problem for them. And so they're constantly in this, like, debate in their minds about if they're, like, if they can solve a problem and how to solve a problem and how to get around it. And a lot of times they don't. A lot of times they fail. And then we usually make them do it again until they either get it right or they kind of reach a point where they just can't move forward. And then we kind of analyze, like, what's been learned and how we can move forward from that. The hope is always that, like, by letting them pick the topics that they explore, the ideas, and then helping to teach them how to schedule a day out so they kind of see when they could get stuff done and how to task, like how to take a large project and break it into smaller chunks. They can figure out how to get from point A to point B. That by the time they get done, by the time they're senior, they're able to kind of say, like, you know what, I can do most of these things on my own. I feel more comfortable doing these things. I can look at a large project or a large task, and I can break it down into smaller pieces and figure out what needs to get done and in what order. And that they can figure out how to pursue the things they really enjoy and are passionate about without feeling like it's too big and it's too overwhelming right away. So anyway, that's the hope. The hope is that then we can also put them in enough real-world situations that by the time they get, like, if they're here with us for multiple years, usually we like to try to find ways to move them out into community situations or out into real-world scenarios so that they can, by the end, have spent less and less and less time here, so that by the time they're done, we may not see very much of them in the senior year because they'll be actually out exploring the community and pursuing things out in the community, not needing us in the same way that, like, first-year student would or a middle school student would. So it takes a lot of different time. It takes a different time frame with every kid. Like, every kid is drastically different. So, like, we've had some students that have come in and they've basically been ready to hit the ground running, yourself is a great example of that. You kind of came in and were ready to explore that next level. And we've had a lot of other students that needed sometimes years and years of slowly building that capability to be able to say, like, I can pursue something independently. So, does that answer the question?
Yeah, that answers the question.
No, sorry.
No. Can you give any specific examples of how Riley has engaged in community or Boston or other surrounding communities?
Yeah. Well, we're project based in terms of how we learn, but we're also really place based. We like to have our kids in the community as much as possible. We have a ton of volunteering that goes on inside the school. Every Wednesday, we've got a group of 4 or 5 that go down to the food pantry. One of our students organizes who goes down, keeps track of who goes down. They volunteer down there to help unload the trucks and stock the shelves. They help with the demolition and then some of the work that was done on the remodeling that they did down there as well. We have a lot of kids that work during the day, or intern during the day at different places where they're actually, like, working for local businesses. A lot of times they won't necessarily be getting paid, but they'll be interning to, like, job shadow kind of to see if they like that particular kind of work for the future. We try to tie as many of our projects as possible with some sort of community mentor as well. We're connected with our local Inventors and Entrepreneurs Club, and there's been a phenomenal way to connect individuals who know much, much more about everything than Mr. Saylor or I could ever hope to. For instance, last year we had a kid who was really interested in smithing. He wanted to make his own forge, and so we immediately put out an all-call to the Inventors and Entrepreneurs Club, and within an hour we had 3 guys who were like, yeah, I built my own forge, and we all went like, oh, of course you have, why not? And then within 2 days, the student was outside on the sidewalk with his homemade forge hooked up to a leaf blower and was melting and making aluminum ingots, like out on the sidewalk outside. We had another student who was really interested in making cigar box guitars. We put on an all-call. We had 3 guys from the Inventors and Entrepreneurs Club send him cigar boxes for free. And then we had a luthier who was attached, a guitar maker, who then, like, he sent him some advice on how to work with it. One student, about 4 years ago, was really interested in steam engines, wanted to make a simple Stirling steam engine out of, like, old soup cans. Was having trouble figuring out how to make it work, and we called the Inventors Club, and they were like, well, hey, let's put you in contact with this guy. Within 2 minutes, I'm on the phone with the head engineer out at Peatwell Industries in Necedah. And his name is Craig, and he said right away, like, hey, I got nothing going on my lunch. You mind if I come in? And I said, no problem. And sure enough, over lunch, he was sitting at the desk with a student, and they were making a Stirling steam engine. So, like, the ability for our kids to be connected to real people in the community and to be able to connect with people who are experts, I think also gives them a lot of perspective. A lot of times kids don't know what's available for jobs. They don't know the talents that are among their community members already. And we've had pretty much everything from, smithing to the steam engines to a luthier to, we had a local EMT come in for a project. We had another guy that came in and actually taught one of our kids how to shape flint tools, like old stone tools. And it's been really remarkable, the amount of community support. And there's so many people that are like dying to help, like they really want to give back in some way, but they don't think that their expertise is valuable. But there's this giant pool of children who want to know everything about everything. And being able to kind of tap into that and put those two groups of people together is really fun to watch. It also helps